Well, that didn't last long, did it? Here I was back in November thinking, this will be the last time I'll ever have to make a video like this of filler content, making it seem like there's nothing else for me to do, trying to make money off of you poor people. I don't mean it to be like such, but YouTube likes to promote videos that are monetized, so, sorry. But I figure I'd give you some sort of update because not everybody is on Facebook and have connections like myself. So I figured I'd give you some updates of what's going on when it comes to HorrorTown content and as far as things go with the channel. So let's go ahead and quickly do that right now. So I guess let's talk about some of the things you're not interested in. I mean, you are interested, I just mean, the main important things. So, as far as this channel goes, there are two things I wanted to go ahead and talk about what I want to do, as far as HorrorTown content stuff goes. You may have started to notice that I've started posting videos on shorts, basically just kind of showing off little little animations, for new animations for new events, scenes, and stuff like that. I'm testing this out, basically just kind of like a little, hey, here's a thing from the event if I find it interesting enough. And I tested it last year with kind of doing memes and stuff like that. But what I think I'm also going to be doing is that I've done some funny memes on my videos, and I'm going to be taking clips from them and uploading them onto the videos as shorts. Because YouTube, what it does now with shorts is it allows you to link videos to, the shorts to videos. So I can go ahead and post some of the best clips to be like, oh, that's funny. Let's see the full video where that came from, and click it and, build interactions, because YouTube's promoting the whole shorts thing, right? To try to help grow this channel for as niche as it is, as far as Goosebumps stuff goes. So, it makes sense for me to try to do something like that. The other thing, too, is I'm going to look into trying to do those weird, fact video, you know what I mean? It's like, did you know? I'm not gonna do it like that stupid voice, but I'm gonna be doing facts as far as what is because there's some interesting things and Easter eggs with this game that I thought it'd be interesting to kind of do. The problem is I have to make a good format, and I'm lazy enough as it is trying to consistently make new content with updates and keep it up to date at the same time. So it's kind of hard to do that. So I have to find something that makes it easier for me to make shorts easy, but also watchable so people would want to watch, right? So that's something I'll be looking into. It's not really official. I'll probably be going more into depth with it when it comes to the update video in March to see how that goes. So stay tuned to that. The other thing is, as of right now, you may have seen that I posted a Part 0, or Episode 0, to a new podcast I've introduced called the Goosebumps HorrorTown Terrorvision Podcast, or HTTV. Yes, the funny meme, because it's just like that one episode my doppelganger was on. That was done on purpose. So, the reason it's Episode 0 is because it's a lot of, it's interesting to listen to, don't get me wrong, but it's a very, unorganized mess, let's put it that way. And we have better set our sights of how these episodes are going to go moving forward. So a first official episode will hopefully come when the next update hits. So that we'll be talking about that, and let's go through there. And we'll see how that turns out, because I have a way of doing it now. And hopefully that will be I'll make sure to promote it once it's official. You get to watch Episode 0 as a little taste and introduction, right? But Episode 1 is when it's really gonna get on there, right? Because part of it too was that I'm gonna make sure, the podcast is supposed to be audio only, so you'd be listening to it kind of like this video here, while something in the background's kind of like picture. But my purpose of the videos are going to be also showing pictures of what we're talking about, for a subject matter, here's the update we're talking about now, and then the background is the update thumbnail, right? So it's stuff like that, right? And then little pictures of certain things that we might talk about, like characters or books, because the thing is, we're also talking about Goosebumps stuff as well, and then random things that we ever want to talk about, because it's always interesting when you have two people talking about. As far as the co-host, though, I had Playboy Vampire be my co-host. The guy I show artwork every time I get, so I figured it's a nice match. I originally wanted to have Erasmo with it because it makes it like the two duos from the HTTV, like, in the game, to get like Suri Squill and Jacko to be in the same vein. But currently right now he's just he's working on things on life, so it didn't work out right now. Hopefully in the future we can have him come on the show. He's always open. He's still with us in the podcast group, so he's still up to date. So whenever he's ready, we're open arms, baby. Yeah, just have some fun with that. So he knows he's welcome. So we're not gonna rush it, right? He currently, right now, is taking a step back from HorrorTown because some things are going on, and things happen. But he still kind of keeps an ear. I keep him updated, so it's only fitting I do so, because I'm the only guy who does so. I'm the only guy who's going to archive this game. Once this game's gone and buried, I'm going to be the only one who's going to be remembering this for. Alright, so let's talk about the official thing you wanted to hear about. What's going on with this game? I originally thought we'd be getting a special book offer, because that's how it's been going, right? It's like special book, then the update, then special book, then the update, right? That's what I initially thought too. That's what I thought. But then again, I thought we would get the update, an actual event on December. But stupid me, we didn't obviously get that. We got something else entirely different. We all know what it is. Best, by the way, episode 2 is coming very soon. It'll be coming next week. I do apologize on holding off, but I didn't want to overload you with video stuff. I know you really want that, but for me, metric-wise, it'd be easy to kind of hold things off and make my life easier because I've always been lazy on certain things, so don't get me wrong on that. Right. Now then, besides the point, I have a theory of what might be going on here. So, last year, if you remember, I may have mentioned that the lead designer for Pixowl, who I call Thomas, left the company to do his own thing. I still keep in touch with Thomas, by the way, so me and him are still kind of connected, and so far he's also been connected with the team, so he's not closed off, so he's connected with some people in there. That being said, when I initially thought they had a replacement there, I find out that no, they didn't. They might have somebody there temporarily to fit in, or like to kind of fill the role, but didn't really go as far depth as making things work out. So, that might have explained why the updates were as weird as they were, and we didn't get a whole lot of new things with the games, as far as like with Adams as well as Snoopy. Then nothing new came out of it, because there was no content director for the whole year last year. Well, come this year, when Adams and Snoopy had their updates release, a new person came into the groups to introduce themselves. The person in question is named Nacho. And I don't know if I've mentioned him by name before, but what was interesting about him was I've noticed his appearance in the group since the summer. And I didn't know much of him, but what made him stand out was the avatar he used was that of Pixie. Yes, the owl from Her Oasis. And I'm like, that's gotta be the weirdest pick out of there. Not only just it was Pixie, it was Valentine's Pixie. So you know that Playboy kind of that with the jacket and everything. Yeah, that's the one he was using. So now that made me interested. Like, well, why did he use that one? And when I find out who he was, then it all made sense. So he introduced himself as the new lead designer for Pixowl. And you might be thinking that, well, wait a minute, didn't the game have like a lead before? No. So what they had was content directors. They're in charge of doing updates for the game, like making new content and making monetization. The game designer, on the other hand, they're the ones who end up making the quality of life stuff and adding new features to games to make it improve. They're the ones who kind of make sure the gears are grinding, as it were. And they also fill in for content directors if they're not there, right? If they, they take vacation or if they end up leaving, right? But what's funny about this is that the content director himself he was a content director himself for none other than Her Oasis. Yes, this was the guy who was updating for Her Oasis originally with content updates. So no wonder he used Pixie. So yes, I had a connection with him before, and I found out what happened and why things went on. So glad to see him back, and I'm glad to see that he, got himself promoted. So congrats, buddy. Hopefully it works well, and hopefully we get in contact with one another. But anyways, let's say our favorite catchphrase, I digress. Anyways, during this time, he introduced himself to both Snoopy and Adams when their update came in. Basically to introduce what he is, what he does, and also a little roadmap of what their plan is for those games in particular. And the other thing too he leaves is like, oh, if you want to see any new updates you'd like to see theme-wise or anything you think we should focus our attentions on, leave it down in the comments section below. Now, we have yet to see this for Goosebumps. And partially it's because we didn't have an official update as of yet for 2024, right? So this is where my theory is grinding my gears. And that, I don't mean it like that, because grinding my gears would be... But my gears were grinding, right? That's what I was thinking of. Like, my brain is working here. Like, my straw brain is working here. So this is what I'm thinking is going on. We didn't get anything going on right now, because an update's happening next week. Wednesday. My guess. Because so far, every new content update comes in Wednesday. This seems to be their mono as of recently. And with talking to Thomas, it is apparent that the current content director is trying to make sure that he can do what he can to make sure that he revives the game. Now, if you've been good listeners and actually listened in to the podcast, I hope you did, when Vampire, my co-host, was suggesting that perhaps the reason why December was such a crappy update might have been because he wanted to do the Scott Cawthon approach, which, in the long short of it, is giving us an appetizer before giving us the main course. Basically because the main course is taking a long time, so it's like, hey, here's a little appetizer to keep you occupied for a little bit before we get the real moneymaker working. So, this is where the theory comes in. Now, currently, if the update's happening on Wednesday, and assuming we're going to get 4 weeks of this update, that's going to lead us into February. So I'm assuming Event 30 is going to be the Valentine's Day update, as I thought it's going to be. What that might be, no idea. I hope it is a book, because apparently, judging by my current community post talking about how you feel as far as this update went, which 29 of you voted, so thank you for that. Most of you voted to the fact that not only did you hate the update, but you wanted it to be an actual book. So hopefully that becomes the case. And hopefully it's worth like what happened on Wednesday. I'm not Wednesday, my God. Back in October. That's where my mind was getting at, but my mind was thinking Wednesday of the update. So when Wednesday happened, God, here we go again. October. When October happened with the Trapped in the Circus of Fear update, what I think must have happened was that was used as a test. They wanted to see if things were going well, and they were very impressed with how well the metrics is. Even when I looked at December, there were still people downloading the game. So there's still people playing it. So they see the game's alive again. So here's what I think is going on. I think they took this extra time to try to fix the battle pass, as it were, because, you know, although it came out, it was a little bit wonky. We all saw that. So hopefully they took the time to fix it a little bit and made their update fit with the February month. Because if we're assuming that it's going to be, and I'm just assuming here, so don't take this word as gospel, but if what I've been hearing is true, then we should be seeing an let's see what happens here. I'm protecting myself up to failure. As you've known, I've always been doing this failure thing because I'm just guessing at this point. But let this old crazy fool make a mention, because it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing until we officially hear what's going on. When we do, I'll make sure I'll let you know. You'll be the first people to know about it. But anyways, as I was getting to my point, what I think is going to go on is Wednesday is going to be when we get the official Event 30 update, which will be a Valentine's Day theme based on a book, hopefully. But they might make their own thing. It might be a Poison Lake scenario where they'd be like, here's our OC, screw it. Valentine's Day theme, whoopee. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happened, what they decide to choose, what they decide to do. And, what it's going to lead, hopefully it's maybe 4 weeks, going to lead us into the end of February. We'll have a 5th week, basically just the whole, like what happened last time, where there's like a little, here's a little thing to keep you company for a little bit, right? And then that update will end, and that will lead into March. And it seems like their games have been going on with the first week of the month is when they start to do the new update. So I think what's going on here is that Event 30 is going to be our February update, and then they're going to be continuing this motion in March. Now, I don't know if this is confirmed or not. I'm hoping that once we know this new update that's hit, that I'll have a better understanding, and hopefully Nacho does make a post talking about what's going on, so that way I have a better understanding where their headspace was at, and we'll see what happens. Because I do complain that when it's like, well, he's not speaking to me, right? I understand that, but he's not listening to me, because recently I made a mention talking about a certain crafting, a certain crafting area that I wanted to see happen, because crafting as of late's been kind of crappy, let's be honest, since the revival. So I've suggested me no words good. I suggested to him what would it would be best to do this, and I kind of made a long post about it. And sure enough, he didn't say anything. He didn't make a comment, but he gave me a thumbs up on Facebook. So that tells me he at least saw it and he's considering it. So if what I suggest turns out to be in the game, then you can blame me for it. But we'll see what happens. But I think it'll be better for the game if it turns out well. If you're wondering what it might be, hopefully in the first official episode to our podcast, yes, shameless plug by the way, I will hopefully explain a little bit where my headspace is at with this whole thing. But anyways, long story short, I believe the next update coming in Wednesday, and it's going to be the Event 30. And what I think is going to lead into March, at which point they're going to be continuing on the updates like their other games, so every game is going on the same pace. So it goes back to normal in a sense. That's the idea what I think they're going with. Now, what will be the special books? I have no idea. I don't know if they're going to be doing like they did back in 2020, where they would have a special book alongside the event. That could be a possibility. That could help. Maybe they'll be doing it as a battle pass feature, where it's like, oh, buy the special book and get the thing. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah. And the reason I'm saying and suggesting that this might be the case is because during this week, something interesting happened. They actually decided to make a public announcement out of nowhere, where they were like, hey, just to let you know, we're going to be down on our servers for a few hours. And then they make a post saying like, oh, we're back. So enjoy your game. Right? But they didn't update the servers for Snoopy or Adams. Only HorrorTown. I wonder why. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? It's almost like they're preparing for something. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm correct with this, but as we've seen before, I'm always wrong. So it's, whatever. It helps fill the content, let's put it that way. It helps make you want to watch this stuff, doesn't it? Listen to the old man ramble on something that, let's be honest, is the only relevancy he will ever get. So, as sad as that might be. Well, I digress. Anyways, hopefully this helps you out as far as some reinsurance to let you know that no, they didn't forget. The sacrifice of 2023, hopefully we get back to 2024 strong. So, yes, we'll sacrifice 1 month of no update, if that means we get 11 months of updates. Does that make sense? We'll see what happens, but hopefully that's the case. That would be fun, but again, he's doing his job to make sure that this game gets revived again, while also keeping true with making sure that he doesn't go over budget. That gotta be hard, right? Imagine doing that. So I trust in him. So we'll see what happens. But, well, anyways, that's it. So I will see you soon, hopefully. Sooner than later. Or whatever comes up next. Let's all... let's all cope together, shall we? He'll be fine, don't worry.